Good morning, Tyler. Welcome to EpicTV Weekly.
Hi, good morning, Trey. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
You just dropped your film, Shattered,
Yes.
and it's a beautifully shot film. It gives some insight into the professional climber Steve House and his climbing.
Yeah.
When you film something like that, do you feel like you're an observer filming the subject, or because of your climbing ability and your knowledge of the subject, do you feel like you're in fact a part of the film?
Yeah, this was a different style of film in the sense that it wasn't a documentary film. It was, we call it a visual poem, in a sense. It was a creation from the very beginning to the end. And I'd say all the words are very true and written from the heart from Steve. But I took those ideas and what I read in his book, Beyond the Mountain, and really said, how can we make something, visuals that will match this poetry? And so I was very, very much, a part of this. And Steve and I are both, let's call it, independent and strong-minded people. So we literally discussed the ideas of this film for months, even before agreeing to work together that way.
It's some pretty profound text in the film, and
yes,
and like you said in the behind the scenes, you started with the text first. Do you ever work the other way around and start with the images and then add the text afterwards?
Yeah, definitely. It just depends on the project, and I certainly had images that lived in my mind. I was a very active ice climber in my teens and 20s and such.
So you filmed the entire movie on the Canon EOS 1DX.
The camera itself is just a tank. It was amazing, and I've actually I had to return it after I shot it with this camera in March, and I've been on the waiting list to get the I have to buy one when they come out. So I've heard that they're coming out this week, so I'm very excited about that. I've got my order in. And other things that were really crucial for us, we used the Zacuto Z-Finder eyepiece, and other things I did. Let me think about what we did. Big tools for us were the Manfrotto, the fluid head monopod and tripod. Those are pretty much the only things that we had any type of motion to them. We did bring an RC helicopter, as you may have seen in the behind the scenes piece, and that crashed 20 seconds into its first flight. So essentially, we were very lo-fi production, aside from the helicopter, which didn't work. But I'd say really the Z-Finder was big for the for the look up to the screen, and then we used a lot of interesting lenses, tilt shift lenses, the 24mm and the 45mm tilt shift lens, as you see in some of these scenes that are playing behind you. And then we used macro lenses to have drips of water coming down, 100mm macro lenses, 50mm f1.2, so we could shoot a very shallow depth of field. We wanted the visuals to feel however they could, to create a sense, not just point of view, not just that we're wearing a helmet cam and you're watching Steve climb, but to create a larger emotion so that we're cutting in a rhythmic manner. The
pack that you took up on the ice,
yes.
How much did that weigh compared to a pack you would have carried up, say, 5 years ago even?
Yeah, so this is really the beauty of it is I took one camera body, and yes, we had two others on the ground, so if one broke we'd have one nearby, but I took one camera body and 3 to 4 lenses with me up on the route, and really that's the fun part of it. And this is the same way that that Steve has to climb when he's trying to do something at a high end as well. You have to reduce your gear, and the minimalism is the art.
In the film, when I watched the film for the first time, it appeared to me that Steve House is soloing this beautiful ice fall, and
yes.
Then I watched the behind the scenes, and you revealed that in fact he's got a rope and he's got a harness hidden under his clothing.
Yes.
And I felt cheated. I felt lied to.
Ultimately, this is a commercial piece. It was done as a promotion for Canon, and it's an artistic piece, and what I wanted to do was to be able to shoot climbing in a way that was shot, we could shoot Steve from 6 or 10 perspectives. I could get right above his head. I could wrap my arms around him and shoot up at his face. And for me, the process of creating art, is far more important than staying true to a strict, climbing documentary feel. In fact, that wasn't at all what that wasn't even my intention from the beginning. And so that's why we have so much transparency in the process.
How many cameras do you own?
We have 3 5D Mark IIIs in our studio. I sold all my other cameras, and I have a couple of 1DX cameras on order. So we'll call it 5.
And I've got to pause here and just say that your website that we'll put here is a great source of information for equipment and techniques, and anybody who's an aspiring filmmaker should definitely check out your website. It's really informative. One more question about cameras. Do you have a personal or a sentimental favorite?
My first really camera that I was kind of set out in the world using, I guess, was my dad's old Rolly camera with a couple of small interchangeable lenses and such on it. And I don't have it anymore, but it was certainly the one that, I lived in my heart as this is what maybe a professional photographer or a high-end photographer might use and such.
And with all this new technology, what, in your opinion, is the future of adventure filmmaking?
As much as technology, helps us a bit, I honestly think that technology is a lot like getting a faster or more powerful saw if you're a carpenter. It doesn't guarantee in any way that you're going to build a better house. It might, but it's, what's behind it is a lot of time of thoughtfulness, of intelligence, of artistry, and ultimately heart and soul that goes into these films. And that's, I think, where it has to happen. So for as much as I see, yes, there's lots of adventure filmmaking, there's more of it being done on the internet, I'm truly only interested in the ones that are progressing as short film or narrative projects that really connect and tell a better story.
For sure, I fully believe that. And so having said that, what is the future for you? Can you see yourself making an Art of Flight with a $2 million budget?
My wife and I have 2 young kids. They're 4 and they're 6 years old. And so a lot of the work that I've tried to set myself up with has been more of the short form. I'm not saying, pardon me, that the long form won't come in, but I really enjoy more of the short film nature of things.
In the film, Steve House, he asked the question, is there a fear more profound than death? What is your biggest fear?
In my daily meditations and in my, self-help practices and such, I'm really seeking a reduction of fear and trying to let go of fear. And that's something I try to really instill in my children as well.
One last and probably the most philosophical question out of the whole bunch.
All right.
How many ski days did you get in last year?
Let's see. Well, my 6-year-old daughter, Annabelle, and then a 4-year-old Sam, he just started ski school. Annabelle's been in ski school for a few years. So I would say, the highest quality ski days, we're skiing with Annabelle now. She's able to go, top to bottom on the Aspen runs and such, and buttermilk and snowmass and such. So those were a heck of a lot of fun.
Well, look for your daughter in the upcoming X Games.
Yes, we'll see. I prefer they not become, just professional skiers or ski racers and such.
Well, Tyler, thank you so much for joining us here at EpicTV Weekly.
Thank you, Trey. I really appreciate your interest in our film, Shattered. It's a great honor to be with you guys.